All right, welcome back to the program. In case you're just joining us, it's time for us to begin our conversation. And I have right here with me my guest, I must say. I did tell you earlier that I'll be talking about the role of science development. Science development, innovation in Nigeria's economic development. Professor M.S. Haruna is the Executive Vice Chairman and the Chief Executive at National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. That's what NASENI means. Prof, good to see you. Welcome to the program.
To be with you, Nancy. Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so nice to have you. The last time we spoke was during the COVID, during the lockdown.
Yeah, it was during the lockdown.
Yes, because we're still, witnessing the pandemic, though we're not on a lockdown. Yeah. But let me take it also from perhaps where we last left it, because I remember at that time I was asking as a vital agency. I don't know if many people do know NASENI. I don't know. But if you didn't know NASENI, you'll hear about NASENI today. And where I'm going to really is how vital is the role of science, innovation, engineering, and technology for national economic development. Because that last year, I did ask you especially, what is your agency doing?
Yes.
We're all on a lockdown. Yes. We needed, innovation. We just needed new things to make our lives more bearable and meaningful.
Yes.
I did speak to you that time. I don't know about attack, but I gave it to you then.
Yes.
So just speak to us.
Okay.
Yes, on how important science, technology, innovation, engineering is.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This is a very critical question, especially at this time of the global realities and the economic realities, both nationally and internationally. In a word, the solution to all problems globally and locally is in science, technology, and innovation. This has been since time immemorial. What brought about development in the world through the first to second industrial revolutions? Countries win war during the time of wars when they have any new technology, any new innovation. They use that as an advantage to defeat the enemy. In modern world, the only difference between developed and underdeveloped countries in terms of economy, in terms of social living standards, is nothing other than the difference, the gap in engineering, science, and technology. So in other words, whoever has age, whoever is more developed scientifically, it is also, that country is also much more developed economically, socially, and even security-wise, because technology today is used in everything, in health sector, in economy, in transportation, in managing health, in agriculture, in transportation. Everything is computerized. Everything is about technology innovation. And Nigeria has no option, or any other developing country for that matter, other than to do its best and develop local capacity, local innovation that is necessary to bridge this gap. Nigeria is blessed with abundant human and material resources. Nigeria is favored by God because many countries countries in the world doesn't have what Nigeria has. Some countries that have resources the way Nigeria have disadvantage of some issues to do with climatic condition, natural disasters, weather affecting them. They can do certain things throughout the years. But Nigeria is different. Vast agricultural land, you can plant anything in Nigeria. Natural rain, so many things. The human capacity, Nigerians have excelled everywhere in the world. So what we need is to concentrate and develop locally our, taking into consideration our strategic advantages, which in the past was not the concentration. As you said, COVID-19 has taught us lesson and has compelled everyone to look inward for solution. Every country has seen that depending on outside for everything you need is not sustainable. Yes.
Okay, taking it from what you have said, and it's a good way to start, the background that we can do, you know, we can't really do much, especially in this world of globalization, without science and technology. If we take a look at it locally, how far do you think we've gone in developing local capacity?
Yes. Now, the science, engineering, and technology was done differently in the past for researching and identifying things, for publications, for gaining promotions in the universities and other tertiary institutions. We have so many publications that people are qualified to be promoted to different rank. They do that. A lot of findings and prototypes are left rotting in the shelves of higher institutions without coming to actually solve the problem in the society. That has been going on, which we inherited from our colonial masters, whom did not emphasize local research. Whatever we need, with several industries in Nigeria during their time, any research that will bring solutions in our agri sector, in everything, health sector, is research outside, and the solution or the products bring to Nigeria so that we consume it. Now, our agency was set up to do things differently, to do need-oriented research, to do market-driven research that will address immediate issues and provide solution. The agency is mandated to set up government think and establish NASENI to do things differently, so that not only producing prototype, but we can set off manufacturing units or plants to demonstrate the commercial viability and sustainability of that product, and even sell that technology to private sector for mass production while solving problem locally. And also, whatever we don't know how to do it, we can go outside, learn how they do it, collaborate with anyone outside, as you said earlier, with a view of domesticating that technology and improving on it locally. The era of just doing the research and leaving it there cannot take us. That aspect of research is called basic research. NASENI, if anyone have basic research evidence or achievement, NASENI can look at how this can be improved and developed into commercial products. In other words, our Establishment Act enables us to set up pilot plants to collaborate with any sector, to promote any private sector, to promote local innovations, so that the country can benefit from it nationally, and we can even export products. In the past, NASENI has not been able to achieve this because of several policy changes and lack of funding, until recently, when President Muhammadu Buhari reviewed all that NASENI is needed, and as a result of several achievements of NASENI, approved full implementation of NASENI's establishment structure in the shape and model of sister or similar agencies in Asian countries and even the developed world. That is how they have gone about. We cannot reinvent the wheel, other than to make sure that we fully implement in line with those that experimented this and have succeeded. As it is said, science It's not magic. It's garbage in, garbage out. It's a method. It's a system that must be followed in order to get result. This approval, including even funding provision, that was not done in the last 30 years. It is only now approval has been given that NASENI can assess its statutory funding in order that all those innovations that we have achieved, because the private sector in Nigeria cannot just come and invest until, as you know, there is no ways in which it can assist the private sector. For example, elsewhere, if you have an idea, you can quickly access funds. And majority of private sector in Nigeria prefer trading, buy and sell, contracting, instead of establishing a long-lasting manufacturing concern. That is the reason why we are still exporting raw materials. So with that, with this provision, NASENI can support private sector, can collaborate together, can research together, can establish together a manufacturing company with proceeds and benefits as revenue generation to the government while providing employment. And then, most importantly, self-reliance. We shouldn't be importing food and everything at this time of our national development.
You made mentions of something earlier, which is we know that a lot of researchers go on shelves, libraries, don't see the light of day, which you mentioned as basic research.
Yes.
Are we seeing that change now,
yes.
especially with globalization changing?
Yes.
You know, are we seeing that change a little bit, that people are now a bit more forthcoming with their researchers, even if they don't have support, or so to speak, they, you know, they go ahead and try to do it. Last year, I know that there were research grants that were given out, I think by the Apex Bank, to some researchers for the vaccine, to develop homegrown vaccine. And I think President Buhari also mentioned it in his Independence Day speech. So what will cause us, you know, to leapfrog from having researches on the shelves, from having researches such as with from professors such as you, yourselves, you know, and bringing it to the fore. And practical research is, this time is not a matter of too much English. You know, it's a matter of, result, pragmatic approaches.
This is a healthy development. That's why I said, for the first time, it is this government that has included science, technology, and innovation as part of the national development strategy, and include in the economic diversification policy and target what can come from innovation locally, and then provide these funds, such as the one you mentioned of CBN, PTDF, TED Fund. There are so many windows now that people with proven evidence of capacity to develop a solution that is existing cannot now complain of funding. And with the funding of NASENI, anyone that have prototype having difficulty, because having a prototype, we say that is invention. You need to innovate further for it to be market ready, and also for you to have the plant that is needed to mass produce this. If it is going to the private sector who complain because of lack of venture capital to take this to the market, NASENI by its act is allowed to intervene, to partner. Of course, on a share basis, NASENI, with the approval of its chairman, who is Mr. President, can allow, even fund 100%, and then have a structure in which the private sector can provide employment, can provide these services in the country. In the past, all these windows are not there. So we have started creating this avenue to encourage not only local experts, even our experts in diaspora.
Are you speaking to them?
Yes.
Perhaps experts in diaspora?
Yes.
And how many Nigerians have you been speaking to? Because your agency is also quite integral, and that's why I'm interested in this.
Yes.
you know. How many Nigerians have you been speaking to? Those coming up with prototypes? How many have been helped? You know, perhaps even from last year till this year, do we have like, you know, innovations that we can say it's local, this is ours? Not perhaps even from other countries, but this is ours. And we've been able to develop it from point A to B, or from point A to the final point, and for usage.
Among the things that we are able to develop locally and make it up to the commercial level are smart meter. Smart meters with so many features that those being imported have not, including your ability to control your load remotely by downloading an app, to control consumption in your house. You can on and off anything you want.
While I'm away from my house.
Anywhere you have internet facilities, and even monitor, and will also help the distribution company monitor whether there is any illegal connection or tampering with their facilities. It makes things easier and convenient, and it also reduces inflation or wrong billing. You will be able to monitor appropriately. So this process has been ceded to a private sector. We are working together to see that mass production commences after going through all the regulatory assessment and approval. After bidding and competitive processes, a company, a private sector has, that is truly indigenous. This is not copying anybody's technology, is everything indigenous. And other things also, our solar module, solar panel is in commercial production. This is completely local. The only challenge we are having, which is now being addressed by the federal government, is that the solar cells required to produce these solar modules or panels are still being imported. But then we have capacity. We have the resources, the raw materials to produce it locally. Now, government has approved, it's part of the development plan that's in awaiting approval of the National Assembly in order to do mass production so that this solar energy can be 100% produced in Nigeria. This will drastically reduce the cost of installation or providing solar power. As at present, wherever you see installation, except what NASENI has produced commercially, we are still importing. And we can't sustain importation, especially with dwindling value of the Naira. And it comes to us at a very unaffordable, but then we have these resources abundant. The materials used to produce solar module, for example, is from silicon, and silicon is from sand, abundant in Nigeria. But another important thing is that the silicon itself, it is also the foundation of miniaturizing electronic products, and to be able to, any design we have locally or anyone have, it is with silicon that you will use to achieve products. In fact, it is what gave America what we call Silicon Valley. We can achieve that. Again, this manufacturing plant that we did locally, you can't see its type anywhere in the world because the machines, part of it, apart from the computerization, everything is designed and fabricated locally. And this place is a limited liability company owned by government. So also, our innovation of what we call NASENI, that is the tricycle, NAFEB. What we have achieved, we have signed an MOU. Innocent Motors is in the process of setting a production plan for producing local design, including cargo version that is appropriate for our local areas. So these are some of the things. There are some from non-formal sectors, individual and some organizations that invented some machines. Yes, they have developed some things, but they can't tell you what is its design that you need to use to improve on its quality or its capability, or to give specification. You can see a machine, you can say this is the tonnage. This is what it will be able to do per day or per hour. So what we do, we assign our engineers and experts to study this. First develop its design. that is developed by someone who have no education, have shown it can do that, that is best, he can just connect. He can't even tell you the size, the width. Study this, develop its own scientific models so that we see how to upgrade this. Or bring this person, give him training in our facility to see some production facility to assist him.
And have you been doing that?
We have commenced that.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
We have commenced doing that.
Is it, I'm interested, is it only like machineries or the hardware stuff that you do? How about people that are like into agriculture, come up with like different types of fertilizers? I'm just saying,
yes.
Different soil types,
yes.
and all of that.
Yes.
Can, you know?
Yes, the mandate of NASENI is wide. It's in the area of engineering, science and technology. Yes, science infrastructure is our concern too. We are also looking at that. We have done a lot in agriculture, not only in terms of the machinery, but even innovating how best certain things can be done, including irrigation system. Recently, we have introduced what we call modular irrigation system.
Modular refinery.
No, modular irrigation system in such a way that you don't have to build river basin or dams before individual can irrigate their farms. In fact, you can use our solar energy, our solar water pump. You can have a tank, if there is a river nearby, just a solar facility that is mobile to form to different clusters of farmers and then move to another site. If there is no water nearby, you can drill borehole, fold the solar facility or energy source, take it home, come back when you need it. You can store the water.
Let's talk about the big elephants in the room, because you did mention earlier. I know that your agency is now under the presidency.
Yes.
And the big elephants in the room is about the funding of it, which will come from companies.
Yes.
You know, and I know that when that was done, it generated a lot of controversy. In case our viewers don't know, let me just read it out a bit. The operations of NASENI, that the Act provides for the following payments to be made into the fund: an annual allocation of 3% from the Federation accounts from the year 2000. Prior to the year 2000, only 1% allocation from the Federation accounts was approved by the Act. Then a contribution of 0.25% of the turnover of 4 million naira and above from commercial companies.
Yes.
So that means for companies in Nigeria, they have a turnover of 4 million and above, shall contribute 0.25%. What else is left there? Contributions from the organized private sector, foreign aid and assistance, fees charged for services rendered by the agency and all of that. When that came to being, a lot of people cried out loud that this is bad for business, especially now, the pandemic. How can you be asking us to pay more, you know? Yes, saying, okay, small businesses from the KAMA Act, is it KAMA? Yes, Finance Act, rather, of 2020, 25 million and below would not be liable to pay some amounts and all of that. But federal government is taking it from the back by saying, okay, we should, you know. So what do you have to say about this?
Well, let me say that about the industrial levy, even though it's for the benefit of the private sector, I do tell you that NASENI is supposed to assist the private sector and even sell its technology and even create new private sector to the market. So, and that is the reason why funding is needed. But taking into consideration, long before the new Financial Act, the governing body of NASENI has reviewed, and so that when NASENI Act was established in 1992, 4 million naira was a lot of money. Now, that is not the case now. 4 million naira is a small amount now for you to levy from it, and have raised the minimum to companies earning 100 million naira and above. Again, it's not a new levy. We are not taking levy as additional levy. This levy is to come from what? Within the tax allowable. And but don't forget, anything that any company that pays to NASENI as industrial levy is tax deductible. Whatever you pay from NASENI for NASENI industrial development is part of the taxes you are to pay. If you are to pay 100 million as tax to the federal government based on your profit before tax, then if you pay NASENI 25 million, it means the remaining tax you have to pay is only 75 million. So that there is no controversy about it. And that is why Manufacturers Association is those that did not read the policy in full, that are spreading this, who do not understand. And that is the reason why Manufacturers Association, in fact, organized private sector. Each of the associations are members of NASENI governing board to help explain to their people what it is. Again, on the issue of the statutory deduction from the federation account, as I said, over this, for 30 years of NASENI, it was not approved. And now it has been approved. All processes are in top gear to commence implementation as soon as possible.
Let's talk about the role of STEM education.
Yes.
I think was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I did a program on education.
Yes.
And how education can also help us in economic development, especially yes. the role of STEM education, yes. science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yes.
I was taking a look at the Global Innovation Index for 2021. And Nigeria ranked 118 out of 132 countries. Global innovation. So that means we've not even arrived at all. 118, and over the past 3 years, we've been going worse. You know, it's been deteriorating. 118 out of 132 countries in 2021. In 2020, we were 117 out of 132 countries. In 2019, we were 114 out of 132 countries. So what role, or how can we, you know, develop STEM education to get perhaps our young people more interested in science, in technology, in engineering, and in mathematics?
Yes.
Now, perhaps is it also for the role of education, teachers, or even for government?
Yes. A lot of innovations are in informal sector also that are not captured in the mainstream. The ranking of Nigeria might not necessarily have looked at other things, but then if you don't formalize issue, if you don't document it, there is no how it will be part of the documentation or assessment if it is not known. As I said, this is part of the thing NASENI is doing. But most importantly, we are concerned with human capacity at all levels. And that's why, as part of innovations of NASENI, is the development of primary science kit that makes science, technology, or science subject teaching easier, not only for the pupil, but even for the teachers themselves. And several versions, including mobile science kit that will help and that will make practicals possible, even at home, using battery instead of electricity where there is none, using some solar devices that can, once there is solar light, can generate energy for themselves. At primary school level, this demystify teachings of basic sciences and also mathematics with illustration, using locally available natural resources that the pupil is familiar with, not to give him science at higher level available from other countries to demonstrate. Also at secondary school level, junior secondary and senior secondary school, even developing practicals, equipment, laboratory equipment that we normally import, for tertiary level, and giving capacity training across the country for the teachers on how science, engineering, and this can be taught.
Thank you very much, Prof, for coming. Yes. I know we can do this again sometime because we really haven't even scratched the surface, you know, and that this is also one thing that is dear to my heart, not just STEM education, but the role of science and technology in the nation's development, especially with what we're seeing right now across the world. Thank you very much, Prof, for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, I've been speaking with Professor M.S. Haruna, who is the Executive Vice Chairman and the Chief Executive at the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. We've been looking at the role of science, technology, and innovation in Nigeria's economic development. That's it for today. Please join us again tomorrow for another edition. From I and my team, I am Nancy Nnaji. See you all. Bye-bye.